Ladies and gentlemen, this is not going to be so much a typical, interview with two current players by two former cricketers. This is going to be a discussion about their performances this year, the season that's gone by, both for Dale Steyn and VVS Lakshman. Very fortunate to have two outstanding performers here, but one thing very common in you guys is that you both have, your success is based on skills, and also players who are rated by players themselves. There are a lot of players who are rated by the fans, not as much by the players, but I think Ian also will agree that these two gentlemen are also highly rated by the players themselves. Dale's skill factor is something that you don't associate so much with South Africa, which is more about doing the clinical stuff, hitting the right area, but you seem to bowl with swing pace as well. There's the Pakistani kind of flavor in your bowling. How do you attribute that to something that you especially learned growing up as a player?
Not really. I mean, I've got my bowling coach here, so he's taught me all the tricks over the years. But I think when you come to places like India, you need something to help you. I mean, the wickets are pretty flat, so we were actually lucky in this spell. One of the batters, I can't remember who was batting, he beat us around, and the ball got so badly damaged that it helped us get the ball to reverse swing. So, there's no, if we don't know what the secret is to getting the ball to reverse swing, it's just get the batsman to kind of smash the ball around. So, so that's basically how that came about.
One of the strengths that I feel about your bowling is the length that you bowl. You look to bowl really full. Do you think that is the kind of length that you need to bowl to get wickets?
So I think you got to mix it up with some aggression. The bouncers can only get you so far. I mean, you've got slips there for a reason, and if you're going to swing the ball, there's no point in having those guys there if you're not going to get the ball up to the bat. So, getting the ball up to the bat is one of the things that I try and do. Try and find the edge. I'm probably going to go for a little bit more runs because my covers aren't going to be packed, but I'm going to find the edge more. And when I do find the edge, I've got some great hands. Joel Callis, Graham Smith, AB de Villiers in the slips, and they're taking great catches.
Lakshman, what do you tell yourself when you're coming to bat and you've got Dale Steyn there at the top of his run-up? Is there something you tell yourself that first ball from Dale Steyn, watch out for this particular thing?
I'd also like to know, actually.
Everyone knows that he's the best bowler in the world at the moment and the frontline bowler for South African team. So whoever is going into bat, including myself, we just want to get over his spell. And initially, you know that he's going to try and nick you out in the slips, and because of the late outswing which he can generate, especially in South African condition where there's also bounce off the wicket. So it's very difficult, especially when you start your innings. But as you settle down, probably you can judge much better playing him than probably when you start innings. But the important thing in our strategy is to make sure that we don't give too many wickets, even though he takes a lot of wickets, and get through his spell and try and not get too many wickets to him.
Ian, you were talking about the late swing today in the afternoon.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that the three bowlers we saw there, all swing bowlers, and I think it's important in the game of cricket because, and Dale talked about it in his performance at 7 for 51, saying that he had to pitch the ball up. And he said, sometimes I'll get driven for 4, but sometimes I'll get wickets. And that's why swing bowling is so important to the game of cricket. Dale, it was interesting to me, cricket seemed to go through a period where everyone was looking to work out how to swing the old ball. And I didn't hear much talk about how to swing the new one. And to me, I always thought much more important to swing the new one, because if you get number 1, 2 and 3 out quickly, then you don't have to worry so much about what the old ball does, because you get rid of those guys. You and Jimmy Anderson in particular are very good at swinging the new ball. As a swing bowler, I mean, do you suddenly... Is it with you one day, gone the next, or even from one spell to the next? And how much of a concern is it if you suddenly find that it's not there?
Yeah, in some places you find that the ball probably doesn't swing as much as other places. But initially, when you start off with the new ball, when you want to get the ball up there, you want to let the ball do the talking. As the ball gets older, well, probably the swing starts to disappear. But you're right, if you can get it to shape up front, you can find a couple edges. Richard Pogler's always told me that, he always said, take 2 at the top, 3 at the bottom, and that's the best way to get 5 wickets. To get 2 at the top, you need to get the ball in the right areas for sure. And the tail enders, I think it's almost a given. If you can shape the ball and get the ball in the right area, you're going to find the edge. But in some places the ball doesn't swing as much, and then you've got to go back to the basics of cricket. You really got to hit the deck and try and, Jock Ellis is famous for saying whenever we're doing these analysis of the opposition, at the end of each batter he always says, so top off stump with the odd bouncer. And then, you go through all the analysis of where to bowl, but everything comes down to the same thing. So, and that's basically what happens. Once the ball stops shaping, you pretty much go to the Jock Ellis way of thinking. And that's just basically what I know about doing it as well.
Vivex, you started playing in '96, so you played a good 14 years now. Have you seen the bowling styles change as a frontline batsman? Do you see a change in the way the fast bowlers are bowling these days? Or it's been very much the same kind of format? Because I thought Glenn McGrath started a new trend by hitting the deck and just getting that little movement, and the old-fashioned swing sort of suddenly went out of the game because there was a new generation of fast bowlers who wanted to be like Glenn McGrath. Have you noticed this kind of change in style of seam bowling?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when I started in '96, there were great bowlers like Wasim Akram, who relied a lot on swing, Waqar Younis, who relied a lot on swing, but there were also hit-the-deck bowlers like McGrath and Curtly Ambrose, or even Courtney Walsh. And as I progressed in my career, I saw more of that style of bowling than actually swing bowling. And if you see, as Ian mentioned, there are very few number of bowlers who actually try to swing the ball now, especially with the new ball. And they rely a lot on reverse swing. And once they think a lot about how to get the ball to reverse as early as possible instead of thinking to rely on swinging the ball early on. So I think definitely the style has been to hit the deck and keep it very tight and hit the off stump and odd bounce here and there, and make sure that the ball reverses as early as possible. But saying that it depends from country to country where you're playing. Like if you're playing in the subcontinent, obviously there's not much of swing early on because of the SGTS ball. Whereas if you're playing in foreign conditions with the Kookaburra ball, there is definitely a lot of swing with the first 20 overs, and then it gets easy for the batsman. And again after the 50-55 overs, then again it starts reversing. So I think, but basically from the bowler's point of view, there are very few bowlers in world cricket who actually rely on swing bowling.